Hello and welcome to this week's episode of In Distress, a podcast where I talk about nonsense in the comfort of my childhood bedroom. I have a lot of dreams and goals for the new year. Like and subscribe. Okay, like and subscribe. Anyways, I'm trying to get a new computer. So, yeah. Like and subscribe. I would love to pay off my student loans. Like and subscribe. I would love to get some new clothes. Like and subscribe. Is there anything I'd love to move out? Like and subscribe. Anyways, I hope you guys had a great holiday. Break, whatever you celebrate, Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, non-denominational situation. I hope you had a good time, girl. I hope you did, or boy, man, non-binary, gender non-conforming. We're going. Happy New Year. I have so many things, so many thoughts about the new year. It's kind of exciting. If I'm honest, it's not even that I have a petty grievance to get off my chest. For people who only know me on YouTube, I got into a little bit of some hot water before the year started. And, y'all know, it's not even that I be yapping. I think I have a lot of questions in my mind. And sometimes, you set the questions free on a bad day. You know what I'm saying? On a slow news day. And then, somebody goes and stitches your video, and next thing you know, they got 1 million views. And you're just like, oh, I didn't even know that. And then you got 300, 400, 500 comments on a video, and you're like, you know what? Let me go clarify the situation. And then you do, and then the comments get worse, and then they start DMing you, and these were men, by the way, and they're DMing you, and there's confusion, and then they're telling you they're in the DMs, and they're calling you a gay faggot. Yeah. Whatever face you just made, that's the face I made too. You know what I'm saying? And I almost feel like I'm not even really allowed to talk about this because I've had so many people like tell me like, oh, just ignore it, blah, blah, blah. And, these people don't know you and XYZ, and don't give them any of your, power and stuff. And it's not even necessarily that they have my power. I think it really just comes down to respect. And this is a tough conversation to have. I'm kind of like I don't really, that's not the sentence I want to use. I have to be careful about my word choice because I'm definitely clipping this. But I'm kind of like a little upset with the Black community in the new year because I just feel like we have got to start respecting each other and like holding ourselves up to like higher standards. Like I think that we need to be like, not calling each other out per se, but I definitely do think that we have some big conversations that we need to have like over the course of the next 3-4 years. And I'm wondering when we're going to have those. I'm wondering how we're going to have those because I'm feeling like the conversations are not evolving. For people who may not know, on Black Twitter, there's a cycle of basically the same conversations being had every month. Like there's an inciting incident, a Black man or a woman says something about it, then that leads to a conversation about something else. And then both sides share their opinions. That conversation leads to something else. Both sides share their opinion. That conversation leads back to the inciting incident, probably a new inciting incident. And it's just the same thing like that. Somebody gets pregnant who, let's say it's somebody who does OnlyFans, or let's say a football player gets engaged to a black football player gets engaged to a white woman. Now we're having conversations about interracial dating. Now this is not pro-black. Then it's a conversation about this is why I don't date within my race. And then somebody chimes in on that. And then it's a lot of finger pointing, and that leads to, yeah, a lot of y'all are just too sexual for me, and y'all like just too outspoken, and that comes into conversation about being a provider, and women have too many expectations, and they always want something, and they always want their hair done, or their nails done, or their food, and it's just too much. We're having a lot of conversations about things, and then they're just the next month, it's just another iteration of that same conversation. We're not moving the needle forward. We're not talking about what we need to do to heal some of the pain within the community. Like, we're not doing none of that. And it's starting to get to a point where I'm concerned, truly. And so there was this inciting incident that happened, and I went to talk about it on my TikTok. And so I did. And the nature of the beast, you make something, somebody goes and stitches it, it gets big, and now people are in your comments telling you nobody cares what you think, you're a gay, get back in the kitchen, this is why nobody listens to women. And it's just like, we're doing a little too much right now. Okay. I got men telling me I'm too sensitive, and then that's ironic because you're in my comments, because I probably said something that touched a little too close to home, and now I'm a gay F word. How does that work? How does that work? It's confusing to me. And I will say this, I will take accountability, and I will say that I could have said some things a little bit nicer, but then that goes back to the idea of like, okay, so I'm too sensitive because I said something about something else that a black man said about a black woman, and now I'm too sensitive, but then you're sitting here calling me names in my comment section and in my DMs behind profiles that don't even have your face on them. I'm concerned. I'm concerned. And like I said, I feel like it's strange because it is like, okay, well, yeah, I don't want these men to think that they are getting one over on me, because they're not. I've been sleeping just fine. I've actually been sleeping more like a baby than usual in these past few days. It's actually been quite nice to get off of the internet a little bit. And then at the same time, it is like, I am concerned about like how we go from here, like how we move on from here. Like what happens to the black community? Like what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Because there are a lot of hard conversations that need to be had that we're not having. Yeah. I talked about this before. I think that a lot of the harm that comes to black women from black men comes from a place of hurt, or comes from a place of like, just like that toxic masculinity, or like not being able to express their feelings and their emotions in the way that like women are able to. But then at the same time, it's also like at some point to correct that, you have to first of all admit that there is hurt there. And I think that is really hard to admit for a lot of black men, or a lot of men in general, because again, they're supposed to be these strong people, but the same way that I feel this way about women should not have to be strong enough to take the things that some black men give to them, like a lot of that anger and hurt and all that stuff, and a lot of those things that they take a lot of that anger out on black women. Black men also shouldn't have to be strong enough to handle that. And at the same time, like I said, though, a lot of times, like, there are a lot of black men who don't want to have that conversation. And if you don't want to have that conversation, that's fine. But also, I need you to not come to me with that, this is why we do this to black women, because XYZ. Because if you're not, first of all, going to be willing to admit that that there's something in there that like we need to correct and we need to have a conversation about, then I don't really want to hear about how I've hurt your little feelings because you just told me I'm too sensitive. So which one is it? Is it that your feelings got hurt by something and you don't know how to say that? Or is it that you don't want to take accountability for things? Or like, which one is it? Because it can be both. But again, we do have to go back to the part where you have to admit that there's something in there that we need to correct first. And that's where I'm going to leave that. I'm going to leave that there. And again, I've said it before. I'll say it a bunch of times. I'm not saying this is all Black men. I know it's not all Black men. There were about maybe 3 men in my DMs who were trying to have an open conversation with me about the situation. But again, I will say there's a lot of times like Black men don't want to take accountability for the pain that they put on to Black women. And I get it. Like, there's a lot of trauma there. Black women are experiencing that same trauma and tenfold because it's also coming from Black men. It's coming from white women, white men. People just hate Black women, okay? Not everybody doesn't hate Black women, but like there's a lot of hate in this world and a lot of it does get directed to Black women, okay? I've had this conversation before. I'm not going to have it again about the levels to this, the levels of this, the privilege. Okay. Black men have more privilege than Black women. Okay. And it just comes down to that because you're still a man. Okay. At the end of the day, you being a man is always going to beat out being a woman. Okay. So I'm going to leave that there. Anyways, but that was happening. And then I was like, well, I feel like I can't talk about that because when I do, like, people just have terrible comments. And I was like, I just need to be strong enough to handle it. It just comes with it. It comes with the nature of making content on the internet. But I was also like, that's just not a good enough excuse for that. Like, it's not. There's no excuse for like being homophobic and bringing that mess on multiple platforms. There's no excuse for that. So I was like, that's not going to work. Anyways, that was something I really needed to get off my chest. And I'm hoping that now that I did, I can go about my life and everything because I'm going to be honest, it's been weighing heavily on my back. I wanted to say those things, but it was also like I didn't feel like I had the right thing. I didn't have the right words to say that. And I still don't know if those were the right words or not. I guess we'll find out later when I edit it. I do want to say that I do think that Black men deserve a space to like figure that out, and they deserve like to feel their emotions and to feel their feelings. And also at the same time, we have to start treating each other better. It just comes down to that. And I really do hate that message that I just said, we have to be more respectful of each other, got lost in everything else. And that brought out a lot of the misogyny and homophobia that is like deeply ingrained. Hate that. At the same time, though, that still doesn't excuse what has been said to me. So I'm glad I got that off my chest. Like I said, I'm hoping now that I can go about my life now because I've been wanting to say that, but it felt like I couldn't say that because I didn't want to get the comments, and I'm going to clip this. So I guess we'll see what happens. Anyways, in the new year, goals. I would really love to drink more water. That's something that I would like to. I just want to take care of me more in the new year. And I think that comes with like other goals. So like, I think if I start taking care of me better first, everything else will kind of like come in. So that goes with like, doing things that I'm passionate about because that will make me overall happy. And, still kind of trying to figure out what I want to like do career-wise and what that looks like. And at the same time trying to make sure that I'm making time and space for the things that I enjoy doing, like making podcasts, like being on YouTube, making TikToks, making content, blah, blah, blah. And then, there's just a lot of stuff that's going on. I do this live with this other WNBA basketball, or really women's basketball creator. And it's so cool and fun. And that's how I've built like the last maybe like 25-30% of my audience. But also like that's not the only thing that I do. And I'm kind of trying to figure out what the balance of that is, because it is like I really do enjoy like basketball and women's basketball. But like if there's anything that I've learned in the past week, it's just that like, girl, maybe sometimes we don't. Yeah, because all of that happened because I shared an opinion about how I think that, there are some former NBA players and current NBA players who kind of like just need to do better about talking about women's sports and being respectful of that. And like the second you have an opinion about that, apparently everybody, it just got weird. It got weird really quickly. And that's besides the point. We're going to leave that alone. Anyways. But yeah, it's like a thing of like, I do want to do a lot of things. And then it's like, I don't want to limit myself, because my friend actually came up with the motto for the year, which is, well, she said it in Spanish, but I'm not going to sit here and say it in Spanish because that's embarrassing. I'm going to type it and put it on the screen though. But it's basically everything and more. So it's basically like acting off of this concept and idea that, you have things that you want, you have expectations for things in your life, but then you want everything, or like you deserve to have everything and more. So you deserve to have everything you want and the things that you're not even able to conceptualize, like you can have. So it's like, if I was like, oh, like I hope that my basketball podcast does well. And then maybe like, oh, that leads to me doing something else, like maybe like for like a women's sports like network or something. And that's fun to me. I think that that's a really cool motto, just because I think that sometimes the dreams that you do have for yourself can be very limiting, because, like sometimes the dreams that you have for yourselves are kind of like maybe like on par. You're trying to be realistic, when actually in hindsight, sometimes it's okay to not be realistic in things when it comes to the things that you want or the things that you need in your life. And so, yeah, there's a lot of that. I have some goals and stuff, but like I said, a lot of those things are coming from the idea of like taking care of myself, and then the rest of that stuff following. So like, oh, drink water more, make sure I'm eating more than one time a day, getting at like moving my body more, not necessarily it being I need to go and work out for an hour, I need to go run, I need to go do that. Move your body in some way. I would love to do yoga. Okay. That would be really fun. At one point I was doing yoga. Like I was doing it every day, and I was watching my little videos on YouTube, and I was locked in. And then somehow I stopped. That's how it goes for me. I'll get like on a health kick for like 1 month out of the year. And then I'm like, I'm going to do better. I'm going to eat better, and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And then I do it for like maybe 2 weeks. And then I'm like, my body, it's so sore. It's so tired. Oh, I'm going to lay down. And then I never get back up. Yeah. That's how it be going for me. But I'm going to be stronger this year, I think. I'm ready to have discipline and determination. Those are the only words I can come up with right now, but I want to have that though. I want to have that. Anyways, but yeah, that's kind of what the new year is giving. I'm trying to think of other things that I want to say. Something I'm really enjoying, SZA's Deluxe of her most recent album, SOS. That's been really great. I've been having a good time listening to that. I love almost every single song on there. Actually, I was supposed to talk about this last week. I've been trying to record this episode for the past few weeks, but they haven't been feeling like me. And so, anyways, the songs I really like Do I like What Do I Do? I think I like What Do I Do. I love 30 for 30 with Kendrick Lamar. Diamond Boy, a hit. No, like, obviously it's a hit. Scorsese Baby Daddy, definitely number one. It's number one. Like, I'm playing that one crazy. Love Me for Me. It's not my favorite. I like it though. Chill Baby is definitely like, that one's like number two. Ooh, I love BMF. I don't know how I like skipped over that. That's between Diamond Boy and Scorsese Baby Daddy. Anyways, but I love BMF. It's so catchy. Like, that's just like a really good run. Like, What Do I Do? Or What Do I Do? Yeah. Like, What Do I Do is really great. And then, sorry, I needed to X out a tab. Anyways, but yeah, that's just like a really good run. It's like track 2 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 6, and then low key skip Love Me for Me because it ain't that serious. But Chill Baby, that's T. Like I said, that's like number 2, and then BMF is number 3, and then Diamond Boy. Well, really, 30 for 30 is like 4, and then Diamond Boy is like 5, and then I really like Drive. That's a good song. And I like Another Life, and obviously Saturn. Get Behind Me is fine. Yeah, but like those are definitely top tier. Those are like the top tier ones. Yeah. Those are really good. I'm happy that SZA finally released that because I had been waiting. Like, girl, I ain't got time for all that. But we made it work. I'm trying to think of other things I could possibly talk about. I don't really have much going on. I was really just really pressed about that TikTok thing because it was really throwing me off. It was throwing me out of whack. I was like, girl, I have stuff to say. I have stuff to say and I gotta keep it locked in. Anyways, but I'm trying to be more entertaining in the new year. But also, I don't want to have too many expectations. I guess I could sit here. You know what? Something I have on here, which is so funny. I was going to talk about the Shamek Moore thing that was happening on the internet like the past like week or so. But I'm not going to do that man like that and bring that up again because I feel like that would be wrong. But also, that was kind of embarrassing what happened there. What happened there was kind of embarrassing. But, you know, it be like that sometimes. Like sometimes you have like those embarrassing moments, and unfortunately his embarrassing moments be like in front of the whole world, so he doesn't really, and I'm not going to get too deep into the situation cuz it feels wrong to like point a finger right at it, but it's pretty embarrassing. Honestly, I hope things turn around for him someday. Damn. He needs things to turn around because, damn. Anyways. I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah. Earlier this year, I had this, I made this video. It wasn't even earlier this year. I'm pretty sure I said it on this podcast, and then I went and I said it on TikTok like 2 months ago. But Camila Cabello had Album of the Year, and I'm kind of sad that, like, nobody knows that. Or it's not even that nobody knows that. There's a lot of pain around that lady, and I get it. You know, she had those racist posts pop up, and here's the thing. What I think is tough about society and as like a culture, again, this is kind of going back to this idea that like the conversations aren't evolving. But I saw this TikTok maybe a couple weeks ago. And this guy was like, at what point, like when we cancel people or when we call people out, like there's never really like a hard time on cancellation. Like at what point do we come back and we kind of rehabilitate the people, right? Like at what point do we think that people have suffered enough from like them being punished per se? And the answer to that is there's never really a time when that is. because everybody has like their own idea of what they think is a punishable what they think is a punishable offense, yes, but also everybody has like a different idea of, I guess, what they think reconciliation is, or what they believe is like, okay, you served your time now, okay, it's whatever happens, like we're forgiving you now. Like, we're never going to be on the same page about that. And so when you think about things in that way, it's kind of like, well, these people kind of have to just like go and like live their lives, because this is an unpopular take, but I really do think that like people do make mistakes. I'm not going to sit here and like debate on whether or not racism can be unlearned and if you can unpack that and all of these things, because there are people who are having those conversations all the time, and we're never going to get a solid answer on that. But I do think that people do have the ability to grow and change, and I think that the second we stop thinking that people have the ability to grow and change is like the second that I think we would have to lose hope in humanity at all. Because if we can't grow and change and adapt and be different, and we can't learn a lesson from something, then there's no hope for anybody, right? Like, I make mistakes all the time, and it's really hard to give myself grace for that, but I make mistakes and I learn my lessons and I keep going. If we tell people that there's no coming back from their mistakes, like, what does that mean for literally everybody in the world? We all make mistakes, and I do think, yes, sometimes they're not all equivalent. They're not all the same, but I do think that there's something to be said about, I just think that we can believe that people can be better. And I don't think that it has to be a huge topic of conversation. And at the same time, I do understand that there's no amount of cancellation or punishment that some people just will never be satiated, I guess you could say, when it comes to canceling somebody or them making mistakes and stuff. And I just really low key hate that, because this was a really great album. That's the thing that gets me. That was a really great album. And it's likely that nobody ever knows how great that album was because she made that mistake. And that is something where it's like, you made a mistake and you have to deal with the consequence. You have to lay in the bed you made. And at the same time, though, that just really fucking sucks. It really sucks, because that was a really good album. Like, if you haven't heard that lady's album, you might need to go listen to that. And here's the thing. At first, I was like, I don't think I get it. At first listen, I didn't get it. And then I listened to it like a second, and I was like, I'm gonna force myself to like it. I don't give a damn. And so I did. And when I went and I like listened to it the second time, I was like, I don't think I get it. I'm gonna give it one more. And I listened to it the third time, and that third time I was like, oh, I see the vision. I see the vision. I see it. I get it. And then, that's when because at first that Lil Nas X song was playing on my last nerve, and I was like, damn, this is not that good. And then Chanel No. 5 came out, and I was like, girl, this is actually a hit. And I went and I said that. And then, I got dirty looks. I got dirty looks for saying that. And then I went and I listened to Dade County. Really, I listened to Hot Uptown featuring Drake. And mind you, Drake was getting canceled in the midst of this, which was so unfortunate, because he would get canceled at the time that this album that when we needed you the most, you disappear. You know what I'm saying? When we needed you the most, you disappear. And you let us down. And that was unfortunate. And so then there was Dade County Dreaming featuring the City Girls, but the City Girls they've disbanded. And that song was honestly like, that song would have been like the hit of the summer if people would let that lady have her moment. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people don't like her. They think her voice is annoying. and all of these things, and think what you want. The woman can make a hit, and I fear that album was a hit, and that song in particular was a hit, and it deserved to be one of the songs of the summer. Everybody was talking about those songs, and Sabrina Carpenter. I love me some Sabrina Carpenter. Okay, short and sweet though. I'm a big Sabrina Carpenter fan. I've been listening to her since her EP, her first EP, before it was even the album, Eyes Wide Open. This was not my fave. I thought at one point it was. I was like, oh, this is such a great album, and I've been listening to the album a little bit more lately, and Emails I Can't Send was definitely the better album, but also I have a really soft spot in my heart for her Evolution album. I have a really soft spot in my heart for her other music, like Love Sabrina Down. I'm always support her. Short and Sweet wasn't her best work. I'm happy that she's experiencing commercial success, though. I'm never going to take that away from her. And she had her little Christmas thing. I hadn't even heard her Christmas, because I tried to listen to her Christmas album like a year ago. And I was like, I'm not going to lie. This is going to sound like some hater ass shit, bro. I hate when people get popular. Damn. Sometimes I just be wanting stuff to be for me. I don't want to hold her back, but it is like, damn. Y'all got front row seats to the concert, and you don't even know Eyes Wide Open. You don't even know the foundational pieces. No, it does get to a point where it's like, y'all got front row seats to the tour, and y'all don't even know Eyes Wide Open. Y'all don't even know the foundational music. You don't even know it. And that's not to say that people who don't know it, or who were late to the party and are basically tasteless hacks until a hit comes along. That's not to say that they're not deserving of a front row seat. But what I am saying, though, is that sometimes y'all need to move out the damn way and make space for the people who've been here all along. But also them tickets, those ticket prices, we need to have a conversation about that, because I can't afford to go to no concert. And that's why we need to like and subscribe. That's why I need to hit the lottery. These are the things. These are the thoughts in my mind. I want to go and have a good time down at the damn concerts, but I can't do that. I can't do that because I don't have the funds, right? I don't have the money. And that goes into a whole other conversation about how I don't think we should have to work 9 to 5. And that goes into a whole other conversation about how I don't think that people should have to work 9 to 5 days a week. There ain't no need for all that. And then it also comes down to a whole other conversation about these corporations. And you know what? Let me just say this. I love the podcast I've Had It. Okay? Those 2 white women, they get down. They do. And I was watching, they have this other podcast now. It's called iHip News, which is really just I've Had It podcast news. Really, they ate that, okay? And they've been talking about just like, politics and stuff. And I don't mind hearing those white women talk about politics, because they are some white women who they don't give a damn about what people think. They have their opinions, and they let them fly, Can I be mad at that? And they've been talking about these, Trump and Elon Musk and all these people. And I think the thing that's really, it's not even shocking to me. I think what's crazy is that there are so many billionaires that make up that cabinet for Trump's upcoming presidency. And they're beefing bad. They're beefing bad off of immigration and HB1 and HB2 visas. And I think what's so crazy about that is it's really just giving that these people who are in this cabinet who are billionaires, like, they're so used to being in rooms where they are the loudest voice, like they are the most important voice, where they're the most important person. And now that you have multiple people of that status in the same room, they're struggling with that. They're struggling with not being the loudest voice in the room. They're struggling with not being the best person in the room. They're struggling with not being the richest person in the room. And I don't really know how it's shocking that that is something that's melting down and falling apart. I don't get how that's shocking. I don't. Like, I'll be the first to say, I don't think that people who make a bunch of money are always the smartest. I think, like those women have said on their podcast, there are a lot of people out there who are conservative, who are smart enough, who deserve to be in those positions in the cabinet that aren't. And to that point, there are a lot of people out there who aren't billionaires, but are way smarter and way more knowledgeable in a lot of these areas that these people have been appointed to. And it's just like a thing of like, this is just embarrassing as hell. This is embarrassing. And I don't know what to do anymore. Like, at this point, I'm just sitting and watching it happen because there's nothing to say anymore. There's nothing to do. Like, I hate to say it and go back to that. There are moments when I have hope and I have faith in humanity. And then there are moments that I don't. And right now, it's giving don't. Especially after the whole AOC thing, because that's something else that's been on my mind. The Democrats always fucking up. Damn, always fucking up. And again, I think that we can be critical of anyone, but we can be critical of politicians and of political parties. And I think that we can be critical of politicians and of political parties and also understand that when it comes down to it, those are two options we got, or like those are the options that we have. And honestly, I hope that soon, like, more people start running for local stuff, or I hope that more people pop up and they're willing to like get some of these incumbents out of their seats, like, and give them a run for their money. And I know that that can be a scary thing or a hard thing, and it takes a lot of courage to do that. And there's always obviously like the idea or like the option of losing, because like AOC, in my opinion, that would have been a really great, like, I think they were trying to vote in, is it a majority leader or something of the House? And I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed. Like, I expect nothing more, but like, I feel like there have been numerous moments where Democrats have needed to kind of like push back harder, and like having AOC in that seat would have been like the perfect way to push back harder, and they chose to not do that. And I think another thing that I hate is like how well she accepts that. So she's like, like, it's what the party wanted, it's what they voted for, and I respect that. I hate that. I hate that. I really do. I really do. Anyways, I've talked on here for a little bit. I'm hoping that next week's episode will be more fun. I just had things to say. Probably nobody will watch this anyways, so it's okay, Again, trying to go into the new year with less expectations, trying to be more present. And yeah, just take care of myself more. So, and also to leave room and make time for the things that I enjoy doing, like this podcast. So, anywho, if you enjoyed this episode, you can like it. Feel free to do that. Leave a comment. Yeah, do all the stuff. Like and subscribe. Yeah, that's what we'll leave with. Like and subscribe. And if you want to follow me on other social media platforms, everything is in the link tree in the description. And yeah, this was really fun. Cool stuff. I'm trying to hit the 40-minute mark. I'm probably not going to, because I forgot I have to cut something out. So let's just give up on that. I'm going to see y'all next week, hopefully. fingers crossed. I'll try to come up with some things to talk about so it can be a little more interesting. Bye.